Hi there, welcome to No Nonsense Whiskey. My name is VinPF, and on today's episode we're going to be doing my third Advent calendar opening and tasting video. Now if you haven't caught the other two, then please feel free to go and check that out at any point. It doesn't really matter unless you're kind of tasting along with me if you have this set. I've been doing this in a kind of tasting sets of 4 drams. Last year I tried to do daily content and very quickly got behind on myself and thought this year I'd give myself the kind of little wee breaks in between, still cover the same amount of drams and turn them into kind of little mini tasting sets. Now so far that's been a relative success in terms of how the tastings have gone, but the kind of peat the first on both of them has kind of left it a little bit interesting. What I'm going to be doing at the end of it all is taking sort of sips from these and doing the little tastings, but I'm going to be chucking the rest of those whiskies into this infinity bottle. So you can see this is days 1 to 8, the remainders of it, and by kind of maths we should have just shy of a full bottle at the end of this, unless I particularly enjoy one of these drams and want to down it. And then after I've finished all 24, I'm going to go back and check this one out, maybe just after, maybe the day after, maybe again later to see how it's all married across. But I have to say I'm expecting this to be a touch peaty because of any peat element. I think I said on a previous one of these videos that a lot of blended whiskies that are peated, like a good example is something like some Johnny Walkers that are peated, only like 7% of those it has a peat element to it of the whiskies that go in, so you can see that only just a little bit of peat tends to take over. That's what I'm expecting. In any case, let's get into the unboxing of this and then we'll pull these out, we'll see what we've got in the boxes, and hopefully I'll know something about some of these whiskies. But the whole point of this particular box, the Explorer's box, is to give you a worldwide view of whiskey kind of right now, I guess. I don't think there's things in here that are particularly premium or unavailable. This is all stuff you should be able to get kind of fairly regularly around the world, especially in kind of big whiskey drinking countries like the UK, US, that sort of thing. Enough waffling, let's get on with this. Now, last time I couldn't find these, so I did look ahead to find out where these were today. So hopefully I shouldn't be too long finding these. Number 9, right at the top here. I do, however, find these a little challenging to open sometimes. Look at that, I've ripped it right off. Get rid of that. And this little bit here. So the first one, we have an Oban 14-year-old. Now, that's interesting because I've just covered the Nice Watch. Just covered the Nice Watch, which is a very expensive whiskey for what it is. Obviously we're talking about a Diageo malt here, not that that means anything to do with the expensive thing, but you know what I'm trying to say. And I mentioned in there, because I have covered this on the channel before, but it was a long time ago, and that was the last time I actually managed to try the Oban 14, because I try to diversify myself as much as I can these days. My point is that it'd be very interesting for me to go back and try this, because I can't even remember what it tasted like last time. I just remember it being good value for money versus this kind of new Oban, which is very expensive. So what do we have there? 9, 10, which I believe is on the bottom, so I'm going to have to move this now. Ooh, little dingy. Now, as I've said before in these videos, the point of this is not to be kind of heavily edited. So I'm going to leave all the dings and dongs inside, and the ums and the ers. What have we got? It's quite light. The World Whisky Blend. I have covered this on the channel as well, doing well on this particular tasting. This is that boutique whiskey company, Whisky, and this was released for World Whisky Day. And the idea behind this is, if I remember, it has whiskies from all over the world. I don't remember exactly what's in it, but it's obviously kind of Scotch. I think there's some English whiskey in there as well, but there's like Swedish whiskey and Japanese whiskey and blah blah blah. If I remember, I thought it was kind of merely okay. I still have the bottle of it downstairs, I have to say, which is quite indicative. I covered it, I mean, what is it, like May? And if a bottle lasts me that long, it's either utterly exceptional and I get it towards the back of my cabinet and try to pretend it's not there so I don't drink it, or I don't like it that much and I reach past it to better things. This one falls into the latter, I'm afraid. Right, so what do we get to there? So next one would be 11. Top corner. Chuck that over there. Get rid of that. I've got a little bin down there, I'm not just throwing it on the floor. Okay, Hinch small batch bourbon cask. So this is the first Irish whiskey of the of this kind of experience, let's say. Never tried this before. But I'm hit or miss with Irish whiskey, which is, I know it's going to be a controversial statement. Not to say I dislike Irish whiskey, it's just not the flavour profiles I typically look for. It's very kind of like light and easy drinking whiskey, which is great sometimes. I tend to be after the kind of heavy punching flavours of like bourbon and heavily peated whiskies at the moment. But yeah, again, very interested to try this. This, if I remember rightly as well, is a fairly cheap whiskey as well, which is good. We're hitting, this is probably the most expensive so far, the cheapest in the middle. Let's see what we've got for the last one then. So that must mean it's 12, which is just here. So we're getting through this. This is halfway, the halfway point at the end of this. And hopefully you're enjoying this format because, like I said, it's difficult to keep up with creating the daily content, let alone to watch the daily content. And I know more and more people are doing not these particular advent calendars, but like making their own advent calendars and things. So I thought it'd just be easier for me. Oh, that's interesting. Dalwhinnie 15 year. There you go. So I'll tell you why that's interesting. Let me pour this and I'll tell you why that's interesting. Because I covered the Dalwhinnie Winter's Gold last year. Got it for Christmas, and wasn't very impressed by it. It's got a fancy thing. It's made because the part of the distillery is outside, so the temperature makes a big difference. And I think it's something to do with like it being particularly high. I forget, but the resounding comments were that I should give Dalwhinnie 15 a go because I haven't actually tried it yet. But just here, I actually have it literally just here, but I haven't opened it yet. So this is in my review queue. I just haven't got around to it yet. What you can't see off camera is just a mess. It looks like to be fair, it's not exactly tidy, is it? But bottles everywhere down here in my review queue. So yeah, I've got that coming up. I'll probably end up doing that in January or something like that. So be interesting to try it now because I don't know what this tastes like. So if I've got this calculated right, we've got 2 Highland Scotches, both Diageo, interestingly. We've got a Boutique Whiskey Company blend from all over the place, and we've got Irish whiskey, so no peat. Although if I remember rightly, the Oban might be a little smoky, but probably not that much. So we've waffled on enough about the unboxing. Let's get into the first one and see what we've got. Just a reminder, this is the Oban 14-year-old, 43%. And if I remember, when I covered this years ago now, it was probably about £34. It's probably a little bit more expensive now. That's just the way things go. Right, in the old No Nonsense Whiskey glasses, available on my website. Now, I did say a second ago that I remembered it being fairly smoky, but not anymore. This is quite sweet. It's lots of vanillas, lots of oaky. It's kind of fruity. So this is something that you guys don't get to see. This is me generating tasting notes on the fly, which is why I'm not going to go into heavy tasting notes as usual on these videos. But what you see on my actual review videos is, I guess, kind of like a feigned tasting, because obviously I've done my research in off camera and I've written my tasting notes. So I just try it on camera for composure, basically. But yeah, so very interesting actually. It's a little bit musty, a little bit kind of seaside, a little salty, but not overly. It's not like in your kind of like Old Pulteney Talisker kind of way. Let's try on the palate and we'll come back. This is something I like to do. I mentioned on a previous video as well. I like to nose taste, go back to nose taste. It's all interlinked. You can't flood one with the other. I don't think. That's my opinion. Okay, so this is bringing through a little bit of extra smoke, especially on the back end actually when it really dries out. That kind of brininess is coming through a bit more. I like it. Oh yeah, right at the back. This is like, I was just about to take another sip. That's how far back it is. I'm getting that kind of burnt oak vibe from it. Let's go again. This is very tannic, very oaky. Not like overly. It's not peaty. When I say smoky, it's not peaty at all. This is probably from like an extra char level in the barrel or something. I'm just having a guess there. I don't actually know that's a fact. But I have to say that's really tasty. Way better. It's not way better, but it's just very different to the Night's Watch one, which is another sort of 20-25 quid extra when it's not on deal. I bought that for deal, obviously, you know me. But this is what, you know, for the same money, it's way better. When the Night's Watch is more expensive, it's just a no-brainer to get this instead. Really nice, actually. Very impressed with that. Did remember my water this time. I had some recommendations to try different things for cleansing my palate, but I have to say I'm not really doing much shopping at the moment. My wife's taking care of all of that while she's off with the little one. Let's move on to the next one. So, the World Whisky Blend. Now you can see this is very, very cheap whiskey. It's like 30 quid. You can see that probably there's not much age going in here. It's got an interesting nose on it. It's very kind of sweet and sour. I'm gonna have a little taste on that. Now, I think there's quite a large amount of grain on this. It's got a lot of orchard fruits going on with it. It's kind of like apple-y, pears, that sort of thing. That's something I usually find indicative of a Speyside. This would confuse the hell out of me on a blind tasting, I should say. Now, yeah, I mean, I have to say, especially directly after that Oban 14, I'm a little bit disappointed by it. It's cheap enough to kind of just buy and have in. But one of the key things to remember about this, I mean, even though I should have the bottle really, but all over the bottle it basically says this is what you should mix it with to get different results. You know, this is designed to hit a very, very broad spectrum of whiskey fans and even not whiskey fans to kind of entice them in, which is great. I think that's a really good thing. It's not really aimed at like me and, dare I say, you watching, but it wouldn't go amiss on your shelf. If you've got one of these, you know, let me know what you thought about it. I tend to keep it around. It's not something that I'm going to reach for to drink for a daily sipper. It'll go into the kind of the infinity bottle and add a bit of ballast to it. That's a lot of blends do. A lot of grain goes into these things. But for me, not really for a kind of neat whiskey drinking market like me as a consumer. Not really aimed at me, I don't think. Probably the fairest thing to say. It's not that I don't like it, it's just there are better whiskies for the same money. Another little cleanse. Okay, let's move on then. So this is going to be an interesting one, I hope, because I don't really know much about it. I don't know anything about it, to be honest. Never tried a Hinch before. Okay. That's interesting. What am I smelling there? Let's have a taste and we'll come back to the nose. Oh, something that's I was just thinking about the ABV of it then. I forgot to mention that the World Whisky Blend is 41.6%. In fact, actually, all of these today, maximum 43. We've got 43, 41.6, 43, 43. Interesting. Not actually a bad lineup for an actual tasting. If you were designing a tasting, this wouldn't be a terrible thing to do. Okay, so I mean, for me, this is very, very Irish whiskey, yeah, because it's the kind of triple distillation. I'm making a rash assumption actually that this is triple distilled. Very likely to be triple distilled if it's Irish whiskey. Not all of them are, but more than likely to be. Now, just having a look at this. Now, it doesn't say kind of single cask. Single malt. I know they don't usually say single malt because sometimes they include non-malted barley as well. Sometimes they say single pot still or something like that. Doesn't say that on this, because I'm getting some kind of grainy elements to this again. So maybe this is some kind of blend. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's kind of heavy on the vanillas, I think. As I said, ex-bourbon cask, so yeah, of course it's going to be. Let's try one more on the palate. Now, I know this is probably cheap enough again as well. I think I never tried any Hinches, but I keep up with the value of whiskey. And I'm thinking this is something around the £30 mark as well. Struggling with tasting notes, to be honest. It's very, very light and understated across the board. It's quite spicy, heavy on the vanillas. I mean, I'm sure a professional would be able to pull out loads of funky tasty notes, but you guys know me, that's not really my bag. It's better than the blend. The Oban 14 still winning out for me. As I said earlier, I'm looking for kind of really bold flavours, and this is just a really easy drinking whiskey. And if it's as cheap as I think it is, it's worth having around. I am kind of firing through this again, but there's not really much to say about these, to be honest. They are very good at giving you an indication of what those regions are trying to achieve. Right, so lastly then, we have the Dalwhinnie 15 years. So high hopes indeed. Right, so this one here, I mean, it's got again a kind of normally Scotch nose to it, like an appley kind of thing. But we know this is a Highland, so that's not like, I mean, like I said, I get that on a kind of Speyside vibe, but I'm not getting it. Yeah, this is loads more of those fruits. Bit musty on the start, but that's kind of cleared up. What is that? I'm getting a kind of weird, I want to say like an apricot kind of thing. Let's try on the palate. Yeah, definitely. Oh. That's weird. Wasn't expecting that. A little waft of smoke at the end there. Genuinely was not expecting that. Interesting. Let's have another sip. That's good. Yeah, that's really good on the old palate. That is. It's got this kind of smokiness on the back end. This kind of almost nuttiness. It's reminding me of like Christmas time, so I'm gonna go with like walnuts, that kind of thing. It's a hard flavour to describe unless you're eating a walnut, I guess. Actually, very impressed with that. I genuinely have never tried the Dalwhinnie 15, or if I have, it was so long ago that it's not worth even thinking about. So after the Dalwhinnie Winter's Gold, which again did not impress me at all, was not particularly happy about that one. I wasn't expecting to like that, and do. So very much looking forward to trying that as a proper review, because obviously we're talking about a sample size here. What I tend to do with my reviews is open the bottle, drink it, enjoy it, hopefully, and then review it once we're a bit further down in the bottle to try and get more of an indication about what I am actually drinking. Have another sip of this. Now, I didn't do this on the last few videos, but I want to rank these ones because the two Diageos, the two Highlands, are winning out for me. Today, right now, the Dalwhinnie 15 beats the Oban 14, not by much, but that would flick around, I think, depending on my mood. If I was after something not as kind of, this isn't smoky, but if I wanted something a little bit lighter or no smoke at all, probably the Oban 14, even though I did get a touch of it in the back end. It's really understated, I'm not going to get much of it in there. These two, not necessarily bothered by. I would like to delve into Hinch a little bit more and see what they're about, because I don't really know anything about Hinch. So I don't know if this is a particularly good one, or if it's their best one or whatnot. I hope not. It's a bit understated for me. Not the biggest fan of that kind of understated level, but you know, I could easily drink it. None of these are bad whiskies. That's the kind of point I'm trying to make here. None of these are bad whiskies. Just not really. These two, not really kind of what I'm after in a flavour profile, if you get me. Okay, well that's the third video of 6, I guess, doing, so about halfway through this. I'm going to then pour this into the infinity bottle off camera. Hopefully you're enjoying these videos, hopefully you're enjoying the Christmas jumpers. This is something I've had for years and years and years, and the old snowman is getting bigger every year. Who knows why, but yeah, hopefully one day it'll be, well, I say hopefully, maybe not, hopefully it'll be big. But yeah, hopefully you're enjoying these videos. Do click like and subscribe if you're not already, and let me know that you're enjoying these videos so that I can keep making them. And I'll look forward to the 25th or beyond, when I'm going to look at the infinity bottle and how that's doing. Catch you again on another video.